Alright, now at this point, if you look at the very bottom of my screen, you see that we have the axle, the wheel, and the body. All three of those have been made. So now what we want to do is assemble all three of those together to look like a car. So I'm going to come up here and go to down here and go to New, Assembly. We're going to create an assembly. So the assembly button comes up. Over here in the browser window, there's nothing there, so I'm going to come up here and go to Place, and I'm going to place a component is what we're going to do. See, it says Place Component. Well, I'm going to choose what I want to place. I want to place my car body, and I'm going to hit Open. Now that gives me one body. Now I could bring in as many bodies as I wanted to if I just continually clicked, but I only want to bring in one, so I'm going to go right click Done. I'm going to go back up to Place. I'm going to choose my axle, hit Open. Well, this time I do want two, so I'm going to go 1, 2 for the axle, right click Done. I'm going to come back up here to Place. I'm going to go to my wheel, hit Open, and now I obviously want 4 of those. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I would like to do at this point now is I've got to start assembling this thing and putting my components together. So with that, I need to begin to constraining my parts. So I'm looking for the constraint. I'm going to click on the constrain button. It says, okay, what do you want to do here? It says, do you want to mate some pieces? Do you want to put an angle on a piece? Do you want to insert? Oh, that's tangent. This one's insert. Insert. Right now, what I want to do is I want to insert. I'm going to zoom in on, see how it gives me the angle or the arrow. I want to insert that axle into that hole. And it kind of makes a clicking noise and it pops in there. Now at this point it's right off the end of it. So I believe if I come over and click this aligned, it kind of shoots it the other direction aligned. So either way that I may want that piece, it's popping around. So what I'm going to have to do is I have to offset it a little bit with a particular measure. I'm going to try 1 inch and see how that looks. That's the wrong direction, so I'm going to try like negative 1.5, and now it kind of bumps it to where it's in the middle. So when I hit apply, that just created a constraint of that axle onto my piece. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert this axle into this hole. It clicks again. I'm going to go ahead and type in the negative 1.5 again to see if that looks good, and that looks about right. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll show you how to modify that here in a moment. But I'm going to hit apply. And now what I want to do is I want to insert this wheel onto this axle. Now notice this time there is that space or that gap there, so when I click on this button here, the aligned button, it should pop it down so it's level with that axle, and that's what I want. So I'll hit apply. Again, the insert button is automatically on here already, so I'm going to insert again this wheel onto this axle, and that one automatically came out of line because that's where it was at last time. Hit apply, and let's do the last couple. I'm going to orbit mine around a little bit so I can kind of see it a little bit better. So I want to put this wheel onto this axle, and I want to hit apply, and this wheel onto this axle. Hit apply. So at this point I do have a model that kind of somewhat looks like a car. We're going to make it look like a car here in a moment. So I'm going to come over here and let's go ahead and go to save as, and I'm going to call this one assemble. Car assembly. How's that? Car assembly. Well, now what I can do is I can go in here to this car body, and I can make adjustments on this car body frame, and when I hit save, it will automatically show up in my car assembly. So I open up the car body. I'm going to go right click new sketch, and I'm going to put one on this face. I'm going to look at, nope, wrong one. Let's orbit it around a little bit. I'm look at the top face here. So now I got it flat. So what I'm going to do now is make this thing look like a car. So I'm going to draw a line past the part. What I'm creating right now is basically a profile that will exit. We can take that chunk of piece off over, so not exit the piece, but take that chunk out. So I'm going to right click done, right click, finish the sketch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this triangle piece, except I want to cut it through when I hit OK. Now I'm starting to make it look more like a car. And then I can say right click, new sketch on this face. I'm going to draw, like, let's just draw an ellipse of some sort. I'm just going to try to drag a window in there. Right click done, right click finish sketch. I'm going to extrude that face. I'm going to cut it. When I hit OK, now I kind of got a window for my car and it kind of looks like a car. So as I come up here and I hit save, we'll automatically save that piece. So now when I go to my car assembly, it automatically does it to my car. And I think you can kind of see that it's at least 3D here. Now the last thing I want to show you is we're going to go up here and I'm going to go to a new drawing. When I go to a new drawing, it comes up with a border and title block on there for me. And I'm going to put on a base view. Now you got to look here, we've got all four of the parts open, so we don't want the base view of the axle, the wheel, or the car body. We want the car assembly. And I'm going to hit OK and see how big this thing is. And what this, let's give me a little error there. It just gave me the top view. I'm going to go right click done. So I'm going to move this top view up. And I'm going to project from this top view my front view. Right click create. I'm going to project off of my front view my right side view and an isometric view of that part. I know the car is upside down, but I could flip it if I wanted to, but basically what I'm showing you is we just did the top, front, right side view and isometric. Everything we just did in the last 9 weeks in next to no time at all, because we've drawn the piece 3D already. This is the car assembly, and you're now done. Show me and I'll give you a grade for it. Alright, the other part of this program that's kind of neat is I'm going to minimize this part of it, and I'm going to go back to my assembly. And as I have my 3D drawing on here, I can select my wheel, and I can come up here to this as material box up here, and I'm going to come down here and say, hey, I want you to be black. And it makes that wheel black. Hey, I'm going to come up here and put the as material, let's make them black again, I guess. Then I'm going to make my car body, I'll say as material, let's pick something green, let's say, I don't know. And then I can choose my axle and make my axle a particular color. See if I can find like a hot pink or something in there. Magenta. So you can tell what is there. So you can actually set these things to a particular color. If I knew that my body of my car was a piece of wood, I believe they have some wood. There we go, like a wood cherry, wood oak type of finish. I'll go wood oak. I can select there. And then that makes it a wood car. So it's kind of cool when you get in there and try to mess around with that too. Alright, that's it.